Hello, everyone. Welcome. And we are the Mystic Mavens. It is wonderful to have you here tonight. And I'm Claudia Rocafort. I'm one of the Maven sisters, and I am an executive and business coach, but I'm also a spiritual facilitator. And I love to work with people on clearing whatever's in the way of them achieving what they want. And when we stop to look at it, it's a holistic approach that needs to be everything that's on the inside: thoughts, processes, mind, body, and spirit. That being said, we share a lot of these tools that we each practice, and we're here tonight to have a wonderful conversation about Qigong. But first, let me introduce you and pass it on to Miss Kathy Basil.
Hello, hello. I'm Kathy in beautiful Denver, Colorado. I am my business I call the Vitality Code, and it's all about unlocking what it is that might be blocking us from stepping into our most vital and energetic self. So tonight I'm thrilled to be engaging in this conversation as Jewana tells us about a very powerful practice of qigong, all about clearing those blocks and tapping into that full flow of energy in our lives. So, Joanna, take it away, would you?
Hey, hello everyone. Great day to be with you, all you magnetic beings here. I am Jewana White, the midlife resuscitator. And how did I get that name? Is resuscitating myself, bringing myself back to life. And why did I have to do that? Because life was throwing me some balls and so many different things, and I didn't know what to do. So what I did was I engrossed myself in self-care. And I did this by studying Chinese medicine. Till this day, I still study Chinese medicine, and Qigong is one of the 8 basic principles of Chinese medicine. And it is developing your chi. So what is your chi? Why do we need our chi? These are questions that I will answer tonight. But going back to bringing yourself back to life, we all have ways to do this. And Qigong is just a practice that you can incorporate in your life. What I found was I was in the middle of a divorce. I was working a job that I didn't like, and my house was going in foreclosure. These are things that can damage or lessen your chi, which is your life force energy. And it is depleted by those very things I just named. And it could be a lot of other things in your life. And what it does is it stagnates and it holds and it keeps you stuck. And chi is, like I said, that life force energy. So stuck energy is what it creates in the body. And what Qigong does is allow you to move that energy all on your own. So like I said, there's plenty of practices to move your chi. It can be visualization, it could be meditation, it could be sleeping. Sleeping is what is used to reset our chi. So you don't have to sleep. Physiology, you don't have your heart beats, your brain still moves, everything is going when we are still sleeping. What pumps your heart is your chi. That's what's pumping your heart. So your chi never sleeps. It's always moving. But what sleep is for us is the balance of that yin and yang. How do you balance your yin and your yang? Sleep, like I said, is one of them. Yin is that relaxation energy. Your yang is that physical moving energy. We can't be in fight or flight, physically moving all day long. So what balances us is sleep. It brings restoration. It brings that back to us. Now, sleeping is great, but then what happens when you get that phone call, or what happens when life starts hitting you when you're not sleeping? How do you balance that? And we talk about Qigong, and a lot of people may have not heard of Qigong, but you practice qigong in many other forms. And it could be just balancing your energy. So I want to ask you, ladies, what do you do to balance your energy?
Well, go ahead, Kathy.
I'm a tree hugger. So anytime in nature, spending time in nature. I'm also very kinetic. So movement is a good one for me to come back into flow space. I'm a mountain biker, so that gives me an opportunity to balance a lot of things. So I'm in nature, but I'm in movement. I'm accelerating my heart rate, but that time after the heart rate comes back into that silence, there's an extreme silence. I think that's a beautiful space, and meditation for sure. And I'm a great sleeper.
You know. Yeah, sleeping definitely is one of those things that just restores the body on so many different levels, right? And I don't know if you've noticed, but for me, it's been cycles recently. Like I went through years where I just needed maybe 7 hours and I was fine. There were years that I needed 9 hours and I just needed 9 hours to feel complete. So that precisely to me brings up this whole how much energy, how much active versus how much passive energy do I need? How much yin energy versus yang energy? So I was always a very hyperactive kid. I was full on yang. And the one who climbed trees during recess, the one who always wanted to play games. And, to get me to fall asleep was huge. Then to get me to wake up was really hard too. So for me, and it's just interesting to begin to notice those patterns in yourself. If you're not self-aware of them yet, if it's not like a parent, what do you need, right? For me, restoration is about maybe going to the ocean. And that we've talked a little bit about in different times. To me, they say that 7 minutes in the ocean will rebalance all the free ions in your body. If I can do that, and if you can't do that and you're in the middle of the country, a salt bath, with Epsom salts tends to be a wonderful way to get that kind of rebalancing and restoration as well.
And I love it because it goes right into, so I'm going to give you the chi and gong. So chi is the universal energy that makes up and flows through everything in the universe. Gong is the practice, the skill, cultivating, refining. So you're cultivating your universal energy. What you both have named is ways to cultivate your universal energy. What QiGong has done is put it in a practice with different movements, with breath, and they made it where it's actually the most practiced in the world. That's the fun fact of QiGong. It is the most widely practiced form of exercise in the world, 80 million people. And they say if you go to China, you can see thousands of people in the morning starting their day with QiGong in the parks. Why in the parks? In nature. And what I loved about what both of you said, to rebalance and recharge is something in nature, whether you're hugging the tree, whether you're putting your feet in the water, whether you're barefoot on your grass, it's a way to recharge. Why? Because we are electrical beings and our electricity is charged through nature. So understanding that part of who you are as that being and developing your chi can sometimes be just going outside and putting your feet on the grass, on the ground, and allowing yourself to be charged. We'll go through what the Wu-Ji stance is. And it's a stance where you can just stand. And I'm telling you, when I started practicing QiGong, we did this all semester, like just learning the stance. And it's not a hard stance, but you're standing and you're holding your energy like a ball. and it's called the Wu-Ji stance. And after a while, you can feel the energy in between your arms. Now, when you're doing this stance, it makes sense to not have any blocks in your flow. So us sitting, we couldn't do it. Standing, it must be standing with your feet planted into the ground. It's best to do barefoot. But if you have shoes on, just think there's layers that's blocking the energy. So if you want direct energy, you always want your skin to touch. One of your senses, the skin is one of the most senses to tap into your chi. That's why with acupuncture, we release and tonify energy by pricking the skin. And it's releasing and allowing that electricity to flow through your meridians. QiGong, chi, flows through every part of you. And being able to do that and cultivate it, that you know that your chi is a little out of balance. How do you know when your chi is out of balance? When you start holding these negative frequencies, when they become like you get mad and you stay mad the whole day, your chi is a little off. It's out of balance. If things upset you and you're angry at a person for days, months, years, it throws your chi out of balance. And what happens when your chi is out of balance? It affects your organs. It affects the internal part of you. So what I want you to understand, that there's two forms of the chi. It's the yin and the yang. So that means it's the internal and the external. The internal is what keeps everything in that body moving and flowing. And when it's blocked, when that chi is not flowing, is dis-ease in the body. That dis-ease is, I don't want to say curable. It's, what's the right word? I can't even think of it. Not curable, but it's avoidable. You can avoid the dis-ease in your body by a few different things, not just your chi. It would be your nutrition, just your thought process. It's things that throw this chi out of balance. So being able, like I said, to know when your chi is out of balance is half the battle right there, because now you can take a step back and ask yourself. I always say, when you ask the questions, the answers appear. Your body speaks to you. Ask it, what does it need? What do I need right now? And don't be afraid of the answer. That's the other thing, because sometimes the answer might be, stop talking to that person. Stop putting yourself in that situation. Stop allowing this to happen to you. That is what sometimes comes when we're balancing our chi. Like I said, when I started this process, it was a lot of healing going on in my life, a lot of things that were shutting away and things that were coming in. But being able to just go into this class and now stance, and that Wu-Ji stance sometimes brought me so much peace and brought my body the vitality that it needs. And that's what it does. Like Kathy promotes the vitality of your body. It's your chi that is being raised. When you sit and talk with her, she is raising your chi, your vitality. Like I said, there's the internal chi that pumps everything in the body, and the external chi is for those healers that have to give it outside of themselves. So to develop your chi as a healer is important, because when your chi is off, how are you healing someone else? So being able to cultivate that practice is very necessary for any healer in the house tonight, okay? Yes. So with our chi, I like to say, as long as it's flowing, it's great. When there's a block, now we start feeling dis-ease in the body. And when it's not flowing, there is no more life. So understand how vital this source is that flows through you and to you. So as we bring it to ourselves and through ourselves, there's practices, like we said, that we can practice. Like Kathy likes to go hug trees, and Claudia likes to go and put her feet in the water. And let me tell you, salt water is very grounding. So that's what it does, is actually grounds you and brings you back. And actually hugging trees is a different energetic force that is happening to her chi at that moment. So sometimes what we do is based off of where we are in our lives. Sometimes you need to just feel grounded. So the best place to feel grounded is salt water. And that it pulls us the electricity. Think of a current in the sea. It pulls you right away. And that's what salt water does. It pulls us. We'll go into tonight, when you go through the practices, any of these practices, it's all about your intentions, setting the intentions, going to the water and releasing what needs to be released, hugging the tree and getting the energy that you need, practicing QiGong and allowing that flow to happen. So there's a lot of allowing that happens when you cultivate your chi. The resistance needs to kind of dissipate. So what I noticed was I was holding resistance. Ladies, do you feel like you hold resistance sometimes?
You mentioned the magic word, and I was like, ding, 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 ding. We got to talk about that. Because one of I haven't had a chance to share this with you ladies, but we'll share it with everybody. I just got back from a phenomenal 7-day retreat, spiritual retreat. And it was all about breaking free from our limitations and our fears. And one of the magical things that was shared over the weekend was the process of being able to expand and move beyond whatever limitations or fears you believe you have. And part of doing that was noticing that whatever we resist persists. So resistance, right, means that unfortunately, because we are resisting X, whatever X may be, we are focusing on X and therefore attracting more of X into our lives. So that resistance creates focus, attention, and therefore manifestation of attraction. And I thought, wow, okay, brilliant. So he was giving an example of the fact that he wanted to manifest in his life a free station wagon, right? That's a pretty big ask of the universe. I thought that was awesome. Any color but green, right?
Green.
And of course, 3 weeks later, he got a free station wagon, but green. That's awesome. Brilliant.
What a great story.
So in that process, there's an acceptance. There's, okay, what's the worst scenario that could happen? Where do I get to accept this resistance? And that doesn't mean bring it in. That doesn't mean invite it. Just accept it as a possibility in the infinite realm of possibilities. Yes, that is a possibility. If that's the worst that could happen, what would be the worst that could happen, right? And then let it go and expect the best. And let that resistance flow so that you can focus on what you do want to attract in your life. And then we're letting that chi flow again in the direction of what we really want to attract.
And I just want to quickly, before you go, Kathleen, when we ask the question, because I'm big on this, what is the worst that can happen? The universe shows you. So do not ask what is the worst thing that can happen to you, because the universe will show you. So we just have to accept, because when we start focusing on that worst and we ask that question, the answers will appear.
True. I'm saying that if you have this fear, or if you have this thought, or if you think, oh my God, this is the worst, like, what if this happens? If you have that, if you felt that, erase it, notice it, think it, and release it.
And release it. Exactly.
And accept it as one of the infinite possibilities. But by sometimes suppressing it or trying to deny that, if it's there and it's like that little radio in the back of your mind, or, that little voice in the back of your head, you're going to be attracting it. That's what I mean. So
Right.
it's about accepting that it's there, that you had that thought or that fear or that belief, and being able to say, okay, I'm willing to release it.
That's it.
And now I'm going to focus on what I really want to create in my life. Yeah.
Kathy?
Oh, I'm good. I think, no, I mean, my concept, when I think of chi, I think of, the universe is ever expanding. And I like to think when we start thinking on those broader terms, more universal, if you will, that we forget that we're part of nature, we're part of the universe, and that the chi, like you said, it's like the force that made all the everything in the cosmos and the planets and the everything. And it's only us, when we allow our minds to get overly involved in trying to figure things out, that we create that stagnation or the emotions that we haven't allowed to flow through us, which is so what qigong is so awesome about, because that movement, we're synchronizing the breathing with the slow movement to allow the energy to clear through our bodies. And when we that using the breath in that way, it's cleansing, and it's creating that heart and mind coherence, so that we're not overly mind centric, so that we can remember, like you said, the chi, it's like we can feel it in our bodies, like it's the force, it's the invisible creative something that is allowing. Our bodies are so miraculous, there's so many things going on, and we don't even have to consider what's pumping our hearts, or what's having the blood run through our veins. It's like this is happening, like it's an opportunity to clear that mind and plug again into the miracle that this whole creative something is expressing through and as us. But I can't wait. Are you going to show us some tricks here?
Well, I can't do too many myself with us, because it is all standing. That is the key with it.
We can stand. We can stand.
Okay, we'll stand. So then we'll stand and we'll do some. Because I do want to do it. I was just going to go through the hand movements and talk about the standing position, so when you do it on your own. But we can stand. I'm fine with that. What I want us to know is that QiGong, or your chi, where there is movement, there is flow. So you always consider movement in your life with your chi. Because if it's not if there's no movement, there's no flow. So always think about things in motion. Because when it's not in motion, what we call it in Chinese medicine is it's stagnant. And stagnant energy is what causes blocks. And you don't want to block anything. You want to allow that flow to happen in your life. You understand? So like the benefits of QiGong is, of course, the physical health. And QiGong is mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual. Because as much as we may not, or some may not connect, we are spiritual beings before we are anything else. So that's the origination of who we are, is our mystical selves. And a lot of people don't understand the mystical side of who they are. And that many religions call chi something different. I know as a Christian, we called it the Holy Spirit. And in different, I don't know every other religion what they may call it, but I know when I studied that, that's what we called it. Now, as I study Chinese medicine, it's the same force that they're talking about. So just understanding that. So your physical body, what does it do? Increase circulation, flexibility and joint movement, balance and coordination, stress reduction, and emotional well-being. The exercise that I'm going to do with you tonight is for stress reduction, and just talking about releasing the stress, because stress, believe it or not, is 89%. I want to say it's 89% of doctor's visits. And it's stress related. Mm-hmm. So if we could release this stress in our bodies, is key. Mm-hmm. Tonight, we'll go over the breath again. And this is why I stress the breath, because our breath is really what regulates your chi in your body. So when you're able to regulate your breath, it's the most powerful force that you have to heal yourself. And I'm not just talking a regular breath. When you breathe in through your nose and out through your nose, you're nurturing, you're holding on to your energy. When you breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth, you're releasing, and you're releasing stagnant energy. So as we go, or as you practice, or as you learn more about QiGong, QiGong is an extensive learning process. When I say extensive, there's so many forms of QiGong. There's Buddhist QiGong, there's medical QiGong, there's Taoist QiGong, there's Confucius QiGong. Like, everybody has a form of QiGong. I practiced with what was Spring Forest QiGong. I went to Massachusetts, I did courses, I did all kinds of stuff with QiGong when it was my time to learn and release a lot of the energies and I'm practicing since this. I've been practicing again, and I love it, because with certain practices, you'll put them down and you'll pick them up. Mm-hmm. And this is something that I had to learn. Not everything, like Claudia said, is the time for it. So sometimes you might find it's better for me to go hug a tree, or it's better for me to go by the water, or it's better for me to stay home and practice my QiGong. The key that I want everybody to get tonight is practice something to raise and invigorate and activate your chi, because it heals your body when it's flowing correctly. All right, so
quick question before we move on, because mm-hmm. I'm very curious about this, Jewana. Mm-hmm. When you mentioned that it's the most practiced, I thought, wow, I thought it might have been in China, it might have been Tai Chi, which also has, that chi and that energy process. Could you guide us a little bit about what's the difference between QiGong and Tai Chi?
So QiGong is the basis of Tai Chi, and Tai Chi is the martial arts of it. So when you start wanting to now go into the martial arts of mm-hmm. developing your chi, because if you've seen them, they actually, there's different poses, and it's actually the force of your energy that has been developed through QiGong. They all start with QiGong. But through developing your energy, you learn how to move and manipulate your energy for self-defense. And that's what Tai Chi is more of, is learning to move your energy in the martial arts stance of it, as opposed to just cultivating it for your own vitality. That's really the difference. Yeah.
Great.
Any more questions? No?
When are we doing it?
Okay.
Love it. Kathy's like, let's try this. Come on.
I just so the origin of QiGong. Well, did I say that it was in China? Did I go into the history a little bit? Did I do that? Yeah.
Not the history. No.
Well, it's dated back to over 7,000 years ago, where they can actually physically find data on it. But they say it's like way before our time, if it's 7,000 years ago. We all have it. Okay. So when practicing, what we need to understand too is, what are you actually doing, right? So QiGong was originated for mirroring the movements in nature. So a lot of things that we do is like the wind, the fire, it's like the movements are mirroring what you would see in nature. And it's about the relationship between us, nature, and the universe. So it's bringing yourself into that balance of who you are again, and that's you as a natural being as part of the universe. When we feel our chi, we feel connected and we feel oneness with life. Ways to feel your chi. I always talk about rubbing your hands and pulling them apart. You can feel the energy and a nice ball. You can feel that energy between your hands. You sometimes feel the heat between your palms. That's your chi. If you ever walked across the carpet and felt static, that's your chi lighten. That's what that static is, or that shock when you walk across a carpet. So the first steps in practicing your chi is mindfulness. Being in the moment, fully present. When we do our stance, it's you become aware of space and just everything around you. One of the practices that I do, and this is a part of modern chi, is where am I? Asking myself that when I'm starting the practice. You can do a where am I meditation where you close your eyes and you start visualizing around you and just bringing yourself in. As you bring yourself into your center, in Chinese medicine, your center, your dantian, that belly button, right down in there is a very vital part of your body and who you are, your source energy, that dantian, which is our triple burner. They have so many names for it. And it's like a lot of times when we close off a practice, you'll close off your dantian by doing like this. And your or maybe holding it. Sorry, guys, that's what happens when I stand.
Oh, no, it looks cool.
But holding it,
very mystical.
That's just allowing the energy to now fuel the body and allowing your energy that you've just cultivated and raised to put back in your body. Because these palms here are very powerful sources of energy for us. That's why hands are so healing for people. That's why touching people is healing. And that's how we transfer our energy. So, and it comes from, we hear about the gut, right? That mind gut thing. Yeah, it's really powerful. And what goes from our gut, that's a whole science class that I could go into. I love talking about that stuff. The microbiome.
Don't get her started.
Brain. I can talk about that stuff all day.
There could be another
But
one.
really, it is fascinating because it's stimulating all the organs. So when you think about from the physical standpoint, but the organs also have a role to play in that emotional aspect too, and that whole flow and that vitality, and like it's so fascinating to me.
And I love how you're mentioning that, because I think my next message is like a month from now, but it's like the 5 elements. And when we go into the 5 elements is when I'll connect your organs for you with the emotion that you're having. So like your spleen and stomach, I like to talk about this because a lot of people deal with it. When you worry, you now throw your spleen and your stomach out of balance. The chi is now out of balance. So every time we worry about something, we're taking our spleen and our stomach out of balance. Mm. When we talk about the 5 elements, I'll go into each one and what might be happening at that time. But know every emotion affects your internal organs. Yeah. Every one of them. So what were we saying? Practicing the where am I when you're starting. That's setting your intentions by bringing yourself within, by now noticing, am I thinking about what I'm cooking for dinner? Am I thinking about, I'm here, I'm in this practice. That's where you want to first ground yourself with. In grounding, having your feet flat on the ground, barefoot, is probably the best, but if it's not afforded to you at the time, do not worry. Having yourself firmly planted. That's what you kind of want to think of. And the muscles under your feet are called plantar fasciitis. You've heard of that stuff, right? It's because you plant down. with your feet. So whatever practice you do with Tai Chi, any of them, it's being firmly planted. And when I say we practice that stance, the Wu Ji stance, we had to get the planting part of it, because what happens is you're supposed to be able to move and flow like a tree without the base of your body, your legs, moving at all. We are supposed to be sturdy, strong, but flexible.
Yeah, which I think is an important part. I work with women in their 50s and 60s. And one of the things, like this weekend, we're doing a Watsu retreat where you get in the water and you float. And some people are freaking, their bodies are like boards. We get so communicated from our bodies, or so much into that headspace, or maybe there's been trauma in the past, or, you know, some kind of something which keeps us in our head. We need to get into communication again. But honestly, one of the best anti-aging or pro-aging kind of things that we can do is cultivating. I think balance is underrated. Balance and flexibility, that ability for our bodies to flow, to allow that stuff to come and to go. Can't hang on to that and think that we're going to, over time, you'll just get piled up to the point where your body isn't functioning and things begin to slow down and stop.
And that's unfortunately what's happening.
And I'd like to highlight a little bit of what you said, Kathy, which is that flexibility. We tend to lose flexibility as we age. And if you think about how important it is, it's kind of like the story of, you know, the tree in the wind and the branches snap versus the bamboo that can bend, right, and stand strong. So part of my practice, and I love that you ladies do the QiGong. I haven't done much of the QiGong. I've done a little bit of Tai Chi, and I'm excited to learn more about it because my practice has been yoga. And by the same token, you know, it's the feet grounded and the way that you spread your toes and the way that you center and balance. So it's the same similar type of principles again. And it's that magnetic field from the earth that you're allowing to bring forth energy through you, whether that be in the grass or whether that be in the sand or whether that be in the ocean or whether that be hugging a tree, which I actually did this last week. I was so excited and I could feel the life force of the tree. It was amazing. And so, you know, when you connect that way with that magnetic field of the earth and you allow that chi to come through, it's not so much about the practice. This practice today, we're talking about Qigong, but it could be yoga, it could be dance, it could be all different kinds of ways that you can support yourself. But flexibility is one of those things that you want to make sure that you keep pushing yourself a little bit and you keep finding ways to maintain that flexibility as you age, because that will prevent you from having any major issues as you age. And it does make a world of difference.
It's funny how the wording too, because it's a physical flexibility, but we also want to be mentally flexible, emotionally flexible. So we don't want to be stuck in our ways. We don't want to become, you know, an old curmudgeon. Like, these things are they're, what do you call that word? But it's funny how it translates into how we're showing up. So
yeah, and just thinking that flexibility allows it to flow. So when you think of your chi, always think of flow. I want it to flow. So what stops the flow is those heavy frequencies. So that anger, that fear, that, you know, grief, like these things, they come in, and sometimes very unbeknownst to ourselves, we don't know when grief is going to hit us. We don't know when something is coming our way, but how we handle it is how we cultivate our chi. So that's why.
But you hit on something really powerful earlier about healers, and we're all taking on energy from other people, and it's the stuff we're not recognizing, we're not aware of. It may be old subconscious patterns, or it may be there's lots of collective energy that's kicked up right now. It's so important. And that's what I love about, as you're telling us, sharing with us about Qigong, that it starts with the intentionality. Like, let's allow everything that doesn't belong and serve us in this moment and stepping forward to flow on out. It's like daily hygiene, whether you do it with Qigong or something, but to let go of those things that aren't ours and don't serve any longer.
And that's the key. When
Right.
it stops serving, get it out of here. Get it out of here. That's the key. And so as like Claudia mentioned, yoga. There's so many different forms of ways to release, to cultivate, and enhance your chi. Qigong is the ancient history of Chinese medicine and how they originated it. What has come over the years of different practices and different things. But the key is to understand that your chi is what you have control over. And allowing it to flow is the basis. You don't want stress to come in and allow your chi to be stagnated. And when your chi is stagnated, we notice because dis-ease starts to happen in the body. That's how we know our chi is stagnated. And sometimes it takes a lot longer to release certain patterns and certain things in our life. Like me, I guess my chi disruption is my lower back. So I do experience pain in my lower back. But what is that really coming from? It's a fear of being secure. And that's when your lower back is affected. It's because that's what supports our body and the connection between earth and the heaven and your spiritual beings. So when we don't feel supported or we don't feel safe, it lands, that energy sticks right there in the lower back. So allowing that to be released, or sometimes we don't know when these fears are coming up, and we're constantly working on ourselves. So I want y'all to understand that this is not a mystical thing that is gone today and tomorrow I'm fine because I practice Qigong. It's a daily practice of releasing, of nurturing yourself. So just doing the practice is nurturing. Just getting up and saying, I'm going to practice yoga today, you're nurturing yourself. Just saying, I'm going to go hug a tree because my energy needs it, you're nurturing yourself. So I want you to get that. And the thing about Qigong, there's no wrong way. Movement. Once you have movement, you have flow. So there's a few practices that I practice like on a daily basis. And one is my spine flexion. And it's like a spinal breath is what I like to call it. And it's spinal cord breathing. Spinal cord breathing allows you to release the energy and let the flow come through your spinal cord. Your spinal cord is your electric cord. It carries all the electricity to your body. So having flexibility and joint movement and all of that and flow in your spinal cord is really important for your balance, for your movement, for your overall health. So having that electricity, brain health, gut health, all of that is that spinal cord. So again, we're going to do the stance. The stance is like Claudia said, you're firmly planting yourself. Just like in yoga, you want to be planted down in the stance. You do not want your knees to be locked at all. You want a nice bend. Because what eventually happens, you want to be able to have your feet planted on the ground and be able to rock without falling over, or it's like you firmly plant those feet, because what happens is the energy is going to your kidney 1. That's the point that's under your foot that raises that yang energy in the body. So like as an acupuncturist, when we use that point, we're actually raising your yang energy for people who might have deficiencies in the body. So when you plant your feet, and set the intentions to raise that energy in your body, that is what is happening. When you are able to rock back and forth and keep the movement, you allow more electricity. That's what lets it flow. And you're activating it. So think about every time you make a movement, you're activating more electricity. As you stand, your hands, we'll start with our hands kind of flat, just, feel your hands. You want to feel, where are you? Where are my hands? Where is my energy right now? Feel it. As you plant your feet, planted, your hands are relaxed. I want your tongue to connect to the roof of your mouth, to the top of your mouth. Why? That's connecting your energy flow in your body, which is your ren and your du channels that run through the front and the back of your body. And your tongue connects them when you put it to the roof of your mouth. So that allows your energy flow to now go into a full cycle as you do this. As you hold and feel the energy, I want you to feel it. I want you to take your time, plant yourself in it, and feel your energy. I love closing my eyes through this. You do not have to. I feel like sometimes when you close your eyes, you really feel if you have balance or not. You connect a little more, and taking now these deep breaths. Every breath that you take, know that the inhale is nurturing. If you exhale through your nose, you are holding the energy. So sometimes we just need to nurture ourselves, and we'll do just inhale and exhale through the nose. If you know you need to release, you need to exhale through the mouth and allow the energy to release. Now, we can do the breaths with the spinal cord breathing as you take yourself and you feel the energy and you allow that electricity, feel the electricity moving through. And what you're going to do, you're going to inhale and you're going to open your arms, come up, and you're going to exhale and round your back and come on in. And you're going to inhale, open. And when you inhale, just make sure you're getting every part of the breath to your belly, opening that diaphragm and exhaling and releasing all of it. And it's an inhale as you open and just feel your arms open and feel your back, feel those muscles as you exhale and allow the breath to go there. And you're opening and you're releasing. And it's just the flow. And with each release, try to bend. It's like a cow. What do they call that? A cat cow in yoga?
Yeah.
Right. So it's like a cat cow in yoga. That. Exactly. So you want to cat cow your back. And you want to right. And come. And when you come up, Claudia, just open all the way and allow the energy to open up your chest, open up your diaphragm, and release it, cat cow down. And doing that is just a form of QiGong, allowing yourself to open and now start articulating these we got over 100 and something muscles within the back that needs to be supplied electricity and allowing that to flow. That's your spinal breathing. Now, like I said, with every inhale, you're balancing and you're nurturing. With every exhale, you're releasing. So when you're coming out, you're releasing. You're releasing whatever is holding in your spinal cord. And the intentions of knowing you're doing that with each breath enhances the experience. So as you're going in and out, it's just a flow. You want to develop it where it's just a flow. It's just as simple as you flow. Now, that's one of the spinal breathing that you can do for releasing the spinal cord. Like I said, the Wu Ji stance, is literally everything I said with the feet, with the legs planted. Knees are not locked, but they're not bent. It's just a nice flow. And you got to feel, like very bouncy and flowy, and not be able to be pushed over or anything like that. But then your arms, it's like hugging the tree. That's what the Wu Ji stance is. It's hugging the tree, holding that energy. That stance alone can just be held for 5-10 minutes out of your morning, and your chi is now on 10. So, and if you do it outside and you begin to set your intentions, you feel the energy. You'll feel the energy in that circle. It's being focused on your energy and knowing that that's it, because you can feel yourself move the energy. And it's about, sometimes you got to start with a smaller ball and open yourself up. That's something they did teach us, is how to expand your energy. And expansion of your energy starts here. It starts in the mind. So anything you want to expand in life is expanding your energy, expanding your mind to first believe it, and then you can conceive it. So if you don't believe that you feel your energy, you won't feel it. You need to believe it first and understand that that is flowing through us. I know a lot of times you hear about your auras. That's our energy outside of us. That's the energy that flows, and you have people that can see your aura the minute they walk up to you. It's an amazing thing.
Some people can't see it, but they can feel it immediately, right?
Right.
Exactly. If we all have that sense, that sixth sense that we talk about, that can come up with people or places, and it's that feeling of energy and other energy. So particularly when that energy is very different from ours, that contrast can be the most apparent. So those are ways for you to begin to use it and become more and more aware of how to perceive your energy around you.
Exactly.
I like that, how you're setting an intention of how you want to affect, what energy do you want to bring to the room, and to the world, really. So if you're thinking, for me to aspire like loving kindness kind of as an intention, that means we need to release all this stuff that isn't at that high vibe. So let anger, let grief, let fear and doubt, all of that flow through. I love that the breathing one that you did. It felt like a big bellow squeezing out all the old stagnant air right out of the lungs, which is where grief stands. And I think we underestimate how much grief we are experiencing in the world, because anytime we've got any kind of loss, or there's a disappointment of something that you thought was going to be happening that didn't happen, there's like little bits of grief or stagnation that happens in our chest. I think that's one of the most enlivening things we can do, is to find ways to expand that chest space. So thanks for that one.
And I'm going to give you one more, because we're almost coming to the close. And this one is for stress. So stress in the body comes out as physical symptoms all the time. And I want y'all to remember, relaxation is who you are. Stress is who you think you should be. So when you're stressed, you're not in the place of who you are. So releasing that is important. And I'm telling you about this because this is something I got to release sometimes. But how do we do this one? This is one of my favorites, actually. But the stance, you get your stance, you stand up. And what you are doing at this point is you're flowing up with your hands. Your hands are coming up. And when as you're coming up, you're kind of coming up on your tippy toes a little. Mm-hmm. And when you come down, it's hard on your heels. You're releasing the stress. So you come up nice and slow, and you flow down on the heels, where you can actually hear the heel click. So you want to come up with the inhale and come down with the exhale.
And the down is a hard down on the heels?
It's a hard down because you're releasing. You're knocking that stuff out of you. So,
I love it. Hard down on the arms as well, or the arms?
It's more of a gentle arm movement. It's just the heels that are kind of hitting a little bit. And it doesn't have to hit, but what you're actually doing is electrifying your bones when you do that.
I like that. Okay.
So you're releasing that from your bones, you're releasing it from everywhere. So that energy that may be stuck, when we actually do that movement down, is releasing that from the bones. It's going that deep.
Ooh.
Your release.
Okay. Yeah, and
So,
I feel that through my legs when I let the heels just kind of plop.
right, exactly.
More expressive way of saying that, but yes, letting them
and
plop.
You can just do that exercise. You can incorporate the stress exercise with your spinal exercise. You can do them all. It's just a matter of having a flow and allowing and releasing. So remember, you want to release what's not serving you, but you want to allow what does. So you want to be able to open yourself up for that and release what's not serving. And do it with your breath. Allow yourself or allow it to flow with the breath. Because remember, when you inhale, you should feel your belly come out. You should feel all of that. You're nurturing every part of your body with your inhale. And when you exhale, release it. If you're releasing it through the mouth, you're releasing it from your body. If it's through the nose, you're nurturing again. You're just recycling and holding on to that energy. So remember what you want to do in your intentions. All your practices is based off of your chi and your intentions of what you want to do with it.
I love this because, like even throughout the day, as we're thinking and, you're getting caught up in your day, we tend to get really shallow with our breath. And so that's like stagnant your creativity. So to be able even to take, 2 minutes and do some breathing. I love the spinal breathing to open up creativity.
3 quick questions you could ask yourself when you get ready, Kathy, like you said in your day. Where am I holding stress? What are the circumstances that brought me this stress? And why am I overreacting? Or where do the stress and its overreaction occur for me? So
I mean, we're recording this right before the holidays, and there's going to be family stress. So when you get triggered, ask yourself, where in the body am I feeling that trigger? Am I angry? Is that, in the belly, where are you holding that, or the back or the shoulders? A lot of times, like get physical in the body and then allow that. I love this.
And just remember, close it off. Just close off your practice, because I didn't talk about that. And that's when I was talking about your dantian. So usually when you're closing off, you come into maybe a prayer motion, holding the electricity to your heart, because this is the most powerful source right here, is that heart. So you're giving it and you're more electricity, and then you close it off here. And that's allowing the energy to continue to cultivate within you. You have cultivated your chi, and you're keeping it and electrifying that heart some more and closing it off. That's the end of your practice. Now, Claudia, I just finished on time.
That's okay. I think I lost it. I forgot what I was going to say. There was something about what Kathy was saying that inspired me in the moment, and it's gone. It's okay.
I'm sorry.
No worries. If it's meant to come out, it'll come out in another talk at another moment. Well, it's all good. I'm just loving the invigoration that I'm feeling just from even those moments, just those few minutes of doing it. And it's kind of like yoga also, it's that breathing. And what I loved learning that I wasn't consciously aware of. Of course, as you mentioned, it makes perfect sense, but the releasing through the mouth versus breathing through the nose, right? There's something about keeping that energy building inside through the nose. But when you need that release, it's like just through the mouth. And that's so powerful, because I think we do it unconsciously. but now to do it consciously, it's a great thing. And on that note, this was it about what Kathy was saying. Where in your body are you holding things? I was going to invite everybody, when you notice that you're holding something in your body, visualize some healing light towards that part of your body, or visualize releasing the energy from that part of your body, which leads us perfectly into what our beautiful Kathy Basil is going to be talking about next time. Kathy, take it away.
Yeah, so December 7th, it's the first Thursday of the month. So we're doing the first and third. I'll be speaking about unlocking the power of visualization. And so this is going back to some of those age-old, as man thinketh kind of thing, our ability to creatively use our visualization as a creative force, impressing upon the infinite source of everything, and to bring our visions for kind of setting ourselves up for December to think about what's your vision as we head towards the new year. But it's such a beautiful time of year to take that, but just how really much more powerful we are than we remember to give ourselves credit for. So join us then.
Yeah. And on that note, everyone, thank you so much for another great conversation. Love and light, everyone.
And have a great holiday.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Should we stand up and close our little